Good night, viewers, and welcome to this another program of Advancing the Cause. This program comes to you every Wednesday night from 18:30 hours to 20 hours. The official host of this program is Honorable Coretta McDonald, AA, General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, and may I say Member of Parliament also. She is the official host of this program, but she could not have been here to host this program tonight, and therefore I wish to tender an apology for her not being here. My name is Dennis Jaikran, and I would be hosting this program for her tonight. The topic for this program tonight would be The Victory is Waiting. Let me repeat the topic for tonight. The victory is waiting. And I want to, before I go into the areas in which we are going to address tonight, to advise you that this particular topic would have been as a result of submissions made to this program and a consensus on this topic tonight. Hence, the topic, the victory is waiting. And so the victory is waiting because the things we are going to advance to you on this program tonight will enable you to better understand, based on your submissions to us on this program, day by day, night by night, week by week, that your guidance and support would have enabled us on this program to be able not only to come up with topics, but areas in which we want to focus. And so our program tonight will focus on the following areas. We will, as you know, on very many of these programs already spoken of cash grants and school grants. I want to say to you that based on the submissions made by our viewers and those who are part of this program in different ways and in different forms, and because of the very discriminatory way in which the cash grant and the school grant would have been distributed, there are very many concerns coming in. And as we receive them, we are of the opinion that we should give this kind of information to you, not only for you to be able to receive the information per se, but for you to better understand something to guide you, and that nobody is going to pull any wool on your eyes. And so we are going to deal also with the failure of paid state enforcement agencies to perform legal and constitutional duties. You will recall that this might be about 8 times we are speaking about this particular issue. And we are calling out the National Insurance Scheme, the Guyana Revenue Authority, the Minister of Labor, the Guyana Power and Light, and the Environmental Protection Agency. And mind you, over the past 2 or 3 days, you would have recognized that the private sector commission, that the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, they are also calling out these agencies, the persons who are employed by the state to perform official duties, and they are failing in their duties, but are receiving state money. And so we are going to deal with that. And we are going to link that to establishment of an unauthorized and illegal mechanical workshop in a residential area, causing dust, noise, and chemical pollution. And therefore, we are of the opinion, based on submissions, that we should be able to speak to these things. We are going to deal with some educational matters. We are going to deal with a specific matter as it relates to an issue in Region 6. We are going to deal with issues as it relates to the Ministry of Education. This is a special aspect of it. Trying to bombard persons in the employ to do illegal things and things that are not necessary for them to be able to place their own people in different situations. We are going to bring that out to you on this program, and very many people are aware of these things. Then we are going to touch on the issue of the Auditor General Report 2023. And here we are going to look at the inconsistencies in the Auditor General's report. And some of these inconsistencies would be across the regions, and the areas would be advances, capital works, inventory, logbooks for vehicles, current work, housing accommodation for public servants. Then we are going to deal with a number of general issues. And those issues are going to be very many, and that would bring us to the end of this program tonight. But let us turn our attention to education. And the first thing we want to talk about are these documents erroneous as they are, as sent out by persons employed in the Ministry of Education in high positions. And we have before us here, and remember I'm saying us meaning the program. I only happen to be hosting this program, but it is a collective mind. And because it is a collective mind, we have stronger points to prove. So this is a letter from some Dr. R.T. Maybe rat might be, the R and the T might be Tomcat. So it is Rat Tomcat. Who might be this officer? Dr. Rat Tomcat or Dr. R.T. And so he writes this letter to the principal of a particular technical institute. Poorly constructed letter. And let me make this first point on this piece of correspondence. Any official letterhead should not bear the name of the officer who holds the office. you may choose to put the status. But this gentleman here, if it is a gentleman, Dr. R.T. Rat Tomcat, is writing this letter. And so the first point is that in any official letterhead, you do not insert your name and put something before that. So the other point that is bad in principle is that this person is writing to the principal of a particular secondary school and fails to realize that that particular technical institute is governed by its board of governors. And the rightful thing to do would have been that such piece of correspondence should have passed through the chairman of the board. A failure to. But you know, when power is within, it is difficult for you to steer that pen of professionalism. And so we have to bring that to your attention. And so that is a failure on that part. But he would have carbon copied that to the chairman of the board, which is very irregular, right? This is not in any way or in any form been very derogatory too. But he writes to say, I wish to formally express my concerns. You hear that? My concerns. And then in the penultimate paragraph, he says, address this shortcoming. You spoke early on in your piece of correspondence about concerns, but yet in your penultimate paragraph, you say to the principal, this shortcoming, which was concerns in the first paragraph, but in the penultimate paragraph, it is shortcoming. I wonder if these Dr. Tomcat and Tom Rat don't read these letters, or it is a sick by all of the officers, from the CEO right down to the last district education officer, all of whom were pitchforked into position, galvanizing in the roadway, doing all the wrong things in the Ministry of Education. And so the other point I want to make on this piece of correspondence is that if any piece of correspondence that you send out, it is a 2-pager, so to speak, the second page of that piece of correspondence should not again bear the letterhead of the Ministry of Education and to insert the Dr. Rat Tomcat as the person who is writing the RT, so to speak, who is writing this piece of correspondence. And so that is irregular again, so that I pointed out only the first page of the official document would have that. And so all the other pages to follow, 2, 3, 4, 5, should not. Now you are dealing here, this person who says that he or she is a doctor and put bold enough in front, Dr. RT, should very well understand that this is a professional issue and that the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education has no dealing with this matter. It is not a financial matter. And so he is totally out of order to have carbon copy such a piece of correspondence to the permanent secretary. And the question is, this principle is part of a member of the Guyana Teachers Union. And since you are so bold to put in writing so many things that are very unprofessional, why is it? The question is, why is it you did not see it fit to have copied such a piece of correspondence, since you would have said here, I trust that you will give this matter the much required attention it deserves and take the necessary steps to comply with the requirements of the Ministry of Education, Monitoring and Evaluation. This piece of correspondence did not at any time point out which aspect of it. Another failure in the chorus. You see, we are breaking down these things to you to show you that a deputy chief education officer who is bold to put Dr. R.T. on the government letterhead, the Ministry of Education, cannot write a simple letter. A deputy chief education officer of the Ministry of Education. And here it says, as such, I urge that you take immediate corrective action to address this shortcoming. But he said early on in the letter, concerns. As a consequent failure to address this concern at the end of October 2024, we result in disciplinary actions. Let me advise this gentleman. He cannot take any disciplinary action on this principle. And I have been a principal of 2 technical institutes in this country. And at no time, any of these officers, whether the deputy chief education officer then, who was a gentleman, always had snot in his nose, rice in his beard, curry around his mouth. They could not have written me these letters. I would have sent it back to them as I did, the same way it came to me. And those of the persons who work with me in the office at the Linden Technical Institute at the SU will tell you that I did it to many of them. I tore no stone with them. And I want to advise all of our principals. Any action to be taken, disciplinary action, due process must be followed. And if due process is not followed, you ensure that you engage your union. But again, the union on this part, because I am told, and I very well believe what I am told, by very many teachers across this country, that there was a level of betrayal based, and I'm coming to that piece of document just now. At the last signing of that agreement between the Ministry of Education and the Guyana Teachers Union, the big five betrayed. One is to be, or would have been identified as alleged to be the director of NSORD. 2 would have received administrative appointments. One of them doing miserable work at the school. The other two are receiving contracts on a daily basis, house lots, farmlands, and so the big five. So I went away with that because I'm saying to the principals of these technical institutes, including the Upper Quarantine Training Center, the training center in Wolford Avenue, I don't recall the name now, the one at Lenora. And by the way, I am told that the chairpersons of some of these technical institutes, they are now demanding offices in these technical institutes so that they can be there full time to manage the affairs of the school, in these institutes. Some of them, it is alleged. Principals, I urge you to take your role seriously and to be able to face up with the challenges. Don't worry with any way or in any form that you can be discriminated against. I can tell you stories, and I stood up to those things. But I'm not feathering my cap. I'm telling you how to stand up for your right. So this piece of correspondence is totally out of order, very misleading, very threatening, bad way of using state resources, and threatening our principles. And so had I had near to me any trash bin, I would have thrown that inside the bin. But I'm going to get rid of it so that the principals would have their judgment when I get rid of it. The second issue, as it relates to the Ministry of Education and the Guyana Teachers Union, signing a seven-page agreement. Let me deal with it. One, there are 16 issues. 16 issues. Questionable issues. Whether these issues were really agreed upon. Questionable in terms of within a matter of minutes that this document is available to sign. Questionable in the form of the last page of the persons who signed on behalf of the Guyana Teachers Union. Leaving out completely the legal signatory to any document, which is the General Secretary. But you have two other officers. But I say to you that this piece of correspondence, or anywhere you sign your name, it is your name. Your name is Harry Jones. If you are Dr. Harry Jones, it is irregular for you to sign your name using doctor in front of your name. You do that is not your signature. This is misleading. And this is farce. But I want to make one point on this document. While it might not be stated here, and I want all the retired teachers of this country and who are overseas and are receiving their pension in Guyana to know that this piece of document, while it would have been signed between the Guyana Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education, once such an agreement would have been signed, it would be for those persons in the education system who are paid to have these increases in salary. However, I want the Minister of Education to know, I want the Permanent Secretary to know, it has always been conventional and the rule of thumb that when such increases are made to those who are active in the system, the conventional way would have provided for retired teachers, meaning head teachers, SMD, HM, what have you. And I'm coming to difference between a principal and a HM, a misleading fella. Those retired principals, head teachers, deputy head teachers ought to conventionally receive that 10% in increase in their pension. It is conventional. And that is as is it goes on for 2024, 10%, 2025, 8%, 2026, 9%. These are the percentages conventionally that has to attach itself to all the persons who would have been retired or who would have retired, so to speak, from the service. And so I bring this to the attention of the Minister of Education, the Permanent Secretary, the Finance Secretary. Wake up, Finance Secretary. You always sleeping at your work and sleeping all about the place. The Accountant General and the Auditor General. You are the persons who have to ensure that those persons who are pensionable and are receiving their pension ought to be able to receive across the board, so to speak, 10% increase on their pension in 2024, 8% in 2025, and 9% in 2026. And therefore, when you are signing an agreement, you must know that there is another step or stage. And that other step or stage is always a conventional way to satisfy those who would have served. And therefore, I bring this to the attention of the public, of the viewers, that all the retired teachers, head teachers, senior teachers, and what have you in the system, that there should be a conventional way of paying these increases, as was signed by the Guyana Teachers Union and the Ministry of it. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying it is conventional. And it is by the rule of thumb that such things must happen. But once you are retired, I don't think you have any organization that really represents you. But I'm bringing it to the attention of the viewers so that we can be able to attach some value to it. I want to deal with another piece of course. Sometimes you might say, why is it this gentleman is the, and I'm referring to myself as a gentleman. And I know why. You have men and you have gentlemen. I fall under the category of gentlemen. So you might say, why is it this gentleman is always talking about pieces of correspondence from the Ministry of Education, letters and memos and what have you? I am dealing with them because these things come to our attention time and again by education officers head teachers and teachers in the classroom. And you know what all of them say to us on this program? They are ashamed to know that these people are so bold to put their name as Dr. RT, as I said, Rat and Tomcat, or some of them sign their names. And they have a way now. They get so bright, so to speak, that they allow themselves to use the computer to formulate their signature. But I'm dealing with this piece of correspondence from the deputy chief, and I'm going to come to the structure before I move on. I said I would have done that the last time, but I didn't get time. But I want to deal with it before I go to the next piece of correspondence. The deputy chief education officer here, this one here, examinations, important portion. The regional education officers want to PU. Which PU? This person, I don't know if it's a gentleman or a lady or a ladies or what have you. Some Amira Ali or Amir Ali. The signature is not shown here. Deputy Chief Education Officer, Examination, Minister of Education. This is a memo, you know. But I'm going to tell you how they don't know how to structure pieces of correspondence. Don't worry, they did. 2025 National Grade 6 Assessment and Mock Assessment 1 and 2. Right? Forget about the badly structured memo. But this gentleman signs. And here what is his position? Or this lady, whoever it be. Deputy Chief Education Officer Examinations. And still concludes a memo by saying, all for your information and guidance. AMEER, A or something like that. The computer signed it here. ALI. Deputy, forget about that part of it, whoever is a person. But the position is Deputy Chief Education Officer Examinations, Ministry of Education. Look, this here is poorly structured, and they are following the Chief Education Officer, who cannot write a letter, who cannot write a memo, who structures his pieces of correspondence in a way undesirable for the education system. But he was pitchforked. First of all, from his school, straight to the inspectorate unit, straight to the chief education officer position. Not knowing anything how to manage a school, a department of education, or what have you. And he's wasting time there. The chief education officer of this country, like all the deputy chief education officers, all the assistant chief education officers, all the redos, all of them are wasting time. More, so don't worry the DUs. Don't worry DUs at all. They make no sense in the system. As I said early on some time ago, that one was boasting that she is going to become a DU too, because some relative of hers is working at the Public Service Commission, either commission of something. And the person would have already started to boast that that person is going to become a redo before any other DO2 in this country, because her relative still remain or is still a member of, it is alleged, those things that were said, still a member. So that person is looking forward to be a redo. So when that person, I wonder what is happening in this education system, poor as it is. And then the gentle person, this is a term I'm going to use, would have signed here, all for your information and guidance, that is to be attached to a letter, to conclude a letter. You sign your name, you already said up front who you are, the Deputy Chief Education Officer Examination, but you still tell people that you're the Deputy Chief Education Officer Examinations, Ministry of Education. And then you carbon copy to the Chief Education Officer, the DCU. But you got 3 DCU. but you still put DCO. DCO is director, NSORD. I hear NSORD is in a mass of confusion because some person, the friend of somebody, big one in the ministry, was asked to go and sit as a director and waste time there. NSORD is now a dump house for friends and families of a senior person in the Ministry of Education. Chief Inspector, Chief Schools Inspector, Assistant Chief Education Officers, and you have a whole set of them there. NPSI, NPSHIT, ESEND, all sorts of things. Let me go back again. NPSHIT, F, send all sorts of things there. And this gentleman or the person here would have failed and would have been very disrespectful for such a piece of correspondence going out to our schools, not addressing it to the General Secretary by copy of it to the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. But let me come back to you to advise you that once upon a time that there was a superintendent of examinations. An examinations division would have been a wonderful place, very organized, very cooperative, very supportive, very kind, very polite. And they were doing their work in a very fashionable state, very effective and very efficient, managed by a superintendent of exams, and you had maybe deputy superintendent and assistant and what have you. Not more than 5 courses managing the examinations department unit. Now you have a deputy chief education officer. You have some assistant chief education officers, it is alleged. You have some senior education officers, it is alleged. One lately was pitchforked from Region 2, Region 3, straight to exams division as a SEO examination. Pitchfork. So you have deputy chief education officer, assistant chief education officers allegedly, senior education officers allegedly, a whole set of officers allegedly, and still you have the superintendent of examinations there doing all the work. But mind you, ask the Ministry of Education to let them declare to you, this viewing public, all Guyanese people, the official results of the National Grade 6 assessment. Let them formally declare in Guyana the official results of the CSEC examinations. CSEC. Let them do that. Let them do that. They can't do it because they know that there is massive confusion. And so this is important for us to be able to understand as we move into deal with an aspect. By the way, it is alleged before, let me close with the exams division. It is alleged that this bureaucratic structure that they would have put in place would have failed that examinations division. But find work for friends, families, and favorites who are not fit for the work. Who are, well, people say square peg and round holes. As far as I'm concerned, they are no peg in any hole because they are misfits. Teaching Service Commission. When the teachers, I have the document before me here, and I'm supporting this document when I make mention of it. Teaching Service Commission, Discipline of Teachers, Education Act, Chapter 3901, Section 47, Schedule 2, Tables of Charges, Offenses, and Penalties. I have it before me. The person who signs this letter here as secretary, RB. But that's the initial of the post, RB. The first thing you are dealing with teachers' discipline, and you have been very disrespectful, secretary of the Teaching Service Commission, and maybe the chairman and all the members of the commission been very disrespectful, because I guess all of you would have seen this piece of correspondence that went out to this teacher. Failure to bring attention to the particular regional education officer of the region and what have you, not passing through it, and not even have the common courtesy to copy this piece of correspondence. I have it here. It is not alleged. And the date of this piece of correspondence, I'm not going to give you also. But I have it here for evidence in case anybody would need it. Because it is disrespectful to the Guyana Teachers Union. But again, the Guyana Teachers Union, the Big Five, they didn't say anything else more than betraying the union. They don't look in the direction as to how they are being disrespected. Or they themselves don't know that. Right? So it says here, whatever the charge, one, negligence of duty, charge offense, inefficiency. Well, under negligence of duty, not keeping good stats. It is statistics. And you're writing an official document. It is not stats, it is statistics. Right? Charge offense, another one, number two, inefficiency, inability to meet deadlines, general failure on the part of the head mistress, headmaster, and other administration to give guidance to non-administrative staff and poor supervision. Here is what this thing says here. Number two. Number two. Now, there's nothing like that here as stated in that piece of correspondence there on a neglect of duty. And therefore, it is misleading the particular teacher and teacher as it relates to this particular issue. And if any member of the Guyana Teachers Union would want to challenge me on this here, on this very topic or subject, then I am prepared to present to you in a very formal way this piece of document. It says, the correcting says, general failure on the part of the head teachers and other administrative, not administration as they would have put, staff to give guidance to the non-administrative staff and poor supervision. How? Teaching Service Commission wanting to discipline people and you don't know what are the charges, how to lay it before, and how to be able. But I want this teacher, whoever it might be, I don't know the teacher, I don't know the region, but I want to strongly believe that such a situation should take a different action. Should take a, I was dismissed as a regional education officer. And they didn't know when they dismissed me, I was already a principal of a technical institute. They are so confused. And I took them to court. And I won that case because they did not follow due procedures. But let me tell you a story very quickly about this technical. When they transferred me to Linden Technical Institute, thinking that I would have resigned, what they did was to put me in my own backyard. I was happy as ever. And I was the most wonderful set of people that I worked with. And I still love them and they still love me. But let me tell you, I was sitting in the office of the chairman of the then Board of Governors, the late Horace James, and the then Minister Sheikh Baksh. I'm not afraid to call his name. Said if the man doesn't report to duty, knock him off. Sheikh Baksh said that. The then failed Minister of Education. And he was the man who started declining in standard in the education system. But that is it there, and I wish to bring that to your attention. I want us now to deal very quickly with the cash grant and the school grant. The cash grant in the first part or phase or the different phases saw the level of discrimination in which or the way in which it was distributed. Because it is alleged that in some homes, grandparents, parents, all the children, all the grandchildren, all the pets, cats, dogs, parrots, once they had names, it is alleged all of them received these grants. But mind you, since there was this confused announcement, whether 200,000 or 100,000 household or children or people over 18 years, there would have been an illegal set of forces. I want people to know this. Going around different communities in different parts of this country, because 8 of these regions would have called us on this program to tell us. And they are bold enough to go and take names and to tell people who are going to get and people who are not going to get. And they pass homes that they consider to be coalition supporters or members. Well, coalition in the form of PNC, sorry, not them, PNC, WPA, AFC, and the other small parties. Because it's the PPP people going around, it is alleged. And it is alleged further that they are only going to PPP homes. And once they consider you to be from any of the other parties, they don't list your names. They did not visit by home because there is no question about that. And I don't hide it to where I belong because I sat right here in this library when I was answering to the Public Accounts Committee, a set of people who don't know to ask questions. And I've selected some books to them right at the back of me here, calling Question and Questioning by Dr. Desmond Broods. And I'm going to share it with Tishira. I'm going to share it with The big mouth fella that you call a bishop. I don't know his name. I don't even care to know his name because he's a total failure as far as I'm concerned. I hope the Auditor General will audit his church and send that audit report to the Public Accounts Committee. But that is not in his remit. So he can't go and audit that. But it's good if some of these churches and these organized social organizations who are raising funds, it is a discriminatory way, and I'm bringing it because it was brought to the attention. How is it they are addressing and taking names, an illegal set of people? If they come ask you to show them their identification card, they wouldn't have any. And some of them or all of them are 10-day-a-month worker, and they have no work to do because some of the health centers and schools across this region, they have 40, 50, 60 persons sitting down doing nothing. And so I thought it best that based on that popular demand that we should talk about this thing. Let me come to the issue before I come to the issue of the Region 6 issue. Very many times on this program, mention would have been made of a particular mechanical workshop, illegal and unauthorized, so to speak, in a residential area, causing noise, dust, and chemical pollution. And these agencies that I'm going to call out, so to speak, would have been written to on very many occasions, maybe 6 to 8 times. And none of these agencies attended to anything. And that is why early on I made mention of it. The Private Sector Commission is calling out these agencies because the employees of these agencies are unpaid state employees. They don't go there and do voluntary work. And they should work within the constitutional rights and the charges that are before them, and not think that they can sit up on their sit-ups and don't attend to the matters that are before them. And so I call them out. The National Insurance Scheme. The National Insurance Scheme, they always harp upon state employees. And they always beforehand deduct NIS from them. But the persons who are there, I want to believe they call them inspectors. Questionable persons, it is alleged. And they do questionable transactions, it is alleged. And mind you that the National Insurance Scheme, who very many people cursed when it was established in 1969, are now thinking about when they would be 60, thinking about NIS. And there is need for the National Insurance Scheme to be able to look at those letters they receive, look at who would have signed those letters, and be able to engage that person to get further information. The Guyana Revenue Authority. The Guyana Revenue Authority is not a government by itself as they think they are. They are paid to serve the people. And the government employees, the state employees, are compelled to, and before they receive their net salaries, the GRA makes the necessary income tax deductions, not them, the agencies that they work with, and hand that over, if they hand it over, to the Guyana Revenue Authority. So it becomes compulsory. Are they doing this? Are they doing the same thing with those persons who are attached to this illegal and unauthorized mechanical workshop in a residential area? No, they are not doing that. I urge them also to look at who is signing those letters, the 8 letters they would have received by register post, and go and interview that person. But no, they don't do that. They are above the law. And that is why the Private Sector Commission, that is why the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, they are now calling out them to be answerable. Some time ago, I spoke about the Consumer Affairs Committee that is responsible for protecting consumers. Nowhere it is not there. And some consumers are left open to every single thing that is out there. But the third agency is the Ministry of Labor. The office of the Minister of Labor would have received at least 8 pieces of correspondence and did not even have the common courtesy of responding to any of these. But let me tell you, this same illegal and unauthorized workshop are breaching all of the occupational health and safety laws, or every single thing that is in that act. No signage, no safety gear, nothing at all. And I tell you this right now, the viewing public, that particular workshop, it is only time that is going to be explosion, because I'm told, and it is alleged, that there is storage of gasoline or diesel there in the residential area. And the Guyana Fire Service don't only run and visit and see. Recently, the Guyana Fire Service visited a business place. Wire hanging about the place. Gas, all sorts of things. And they give them free pass. Go. It is a fire again waiting to happen here. Guyana Fire Service, I am calling you out tonight on this again. Ministry of Labor, I'm calling you out again. Guyana Power and Light, please remember that you were written to 8 times. And this particular workshop, it is alleged, has a residential or domestic meter, and they are consuming, it is alleged, at the industrial kind of level. And that is why it was told, and it is not alleged, it is known that within that particular community, that it is always what you call load shedding or low voltage. And your pieces of equipment tend to be going up and down, because there are a number, it is alleged, GPL, it is alleged that there are faulty wiring, illegal wiring, bad connection in some of these places and houses and business places. And in this particular mechanical workshop, illegal and unauthorized in a residential area. And the last one I want to talk about is the Environmental Protection Agency. The Environmental Protection Agency, that act came into being in an effort to protect citizens from being discriminated against, and every single thing that is happening there environmentally, dust pollution, noise pollution, and chemical pollution. that they are also sitting upon their sit-upons, receiving state money, receiving the people's money as salaries and not doing their work. I urge them also, as I urge GPL, check who is signing those letters, check them out, speak to them, and they give you the information. But until and unless something would have happened, then they become reactive to the situation. This is what is happening with paid state employees in this country because the government is lawless as ever. And those who come under that, that is why the topic tonight, you hear what is the topic tonight here? The topic tonight says, victory is waiting. And it is waiting because of all these things that are not being addressed. And so I bring these things out so that we can be able to address them rather in a very fashionable way. I come to this, I avoid asking or putting on footage the condition of this person that I'm talking about or I'll be talking about. And so some time ago, this person that I'm talking about would have been recruited by one Mr. Mohammed. This is what was revealed to this program from Region 6. He works at the Freedom House in Region 6, wherever that is situated or located. And so this person was employed as a traffic warden in Region 6. And this employment, I'm going to come to the date of the employment later on the 23rd of August, 2023, this individual, a female, had an accident. Since then, she had an accident. She was employed as a traffic warden, was told that it's going to be a permanent appointment. That is what she was told, that it's going to be a full-time appointment or full-time job, and her salary would have been $70,000 per month. Last year, 2023, 23rd of August, she received this tax. She was employed in June. Monday, 23rd of June, 2023 to 28th of August, 2023. During that period, she was told that she would have received her 4 cents. She did not receive the salary. She did sign a form. And she was told, as I said early on, that she would be paid $70,000 per month. Every day during the period before her accident, she would have reported to the Central Police Station. And this is not alleged, this is what was said. We have it in writing here. Reported to the Central Police Station, New Amsterdam. And she was tasked with responsibilities whenever she would have worked on a daily basis with a traffic ram team to assist or to be part of whatever tasks and assignments are given to her. And so when she got into this accident, nobody said anything to her. And from her date of employment to now, she was not paid 1 cent. She was employed since the 23rd of June, 2023. 23, and she got into the accident on the 23rd of August 2023. She was a community policing, she was part of the, well, Mr. Mohammed, she said, was part of the community policing group. And so to date, she would have submitted her medical certificate. We have that here. The evidence is here. The medical certificate, right? An appointment, everything for her appointment would have been here. When she had to go back to the doctor and what have you. We have all these appointments. We have the medical certificate here from the Ministry of Health, the referral notes and all these kinds of things here. And then she handed this medical to a corporal, Lance Corporal. I call the name because it is stated here. Lance Corporal Wills at the Central Police Station, New Amsterdam. And that was handed on the 23rd of August, 2023. As I said, no payment to date. Nobody made any contact with her. And she is not the beneficiary of any cent, despite the fact she would have submitted the necessary medical certificate. This letter was not being dated here. Well, it is not dated, but would have been signed by the person. And such letter would have been sent to whom it may concern. And this is a statement of an account and details of my claim for unpaid wages owing to me for the time that I was employed by Mr. Mohammed to work as a traffic warden along with police in New Amsterdam Region 6 from Monday 23rd of June to 28th of August 2023. A total of 3 months. I was promised a salary of $70,000 per month. Total owing $210,000. Timesheet attached. Well, we have, let me see the timesheet. Yes, we have that here. We have the timesheet attached here. It has been over a year that I have been trying to collect this money owing to me. I contacted the vice chairman of the region, Mr. Zamal Hussein, on several occasions, who promised me that I will receive my salary soon. A year and 3 months later, still getting the same answer, soon. It has come to the point that I will not accept soon anymore. A copy of this letter will be sent to the president, vice president, and the media if I do not receive my salary by Monday, 11th of June 2024. I am not going to call the name of this person. We have the letter here. I'm not going to call out the address, but I've given you the scenario that she was employed. She got into an accident. She submitted the necessary medical certificate. She said who she submitted it to. The forms are here. The medical certificate is here. The timesheet is here. We have all the necessary documents. This is what you call a non-caring, uncaring set of people that is managing the affairs of this country. How do they feel that a woman has been discriminated against, got into an accident, was employed, was not paid? 1 year ago, this thing happened. I am bringing it to the attention of our viewers here and abroad. And if more information is needed from this program, then we can so provide such an information. And so we give you that for you to better understand that what we spoke about, or the victory is waiting, it is because of all those things that are happening in this country. All those things that are happening. Let us now turn very quickly our attention to this very serious situation across regions in this country, across regions of this country, where we have, before we go there, let me talk about the Auditor General report. The Auditor General report for 2023 failed to address in some of these regions issue of advances, capital works, inventory, logbooks of vehicle, recurrent work, housing and accommodation. The report was very selective in which region it was pointed out. But I tell you, in this region, region 2, nothing was said about accommodation for officers, but none of them that are occupied region in this region, none of them apart from the teachers who live in the areas in which houses are provided for teachers and staff members, head teachers and staff members, rather. The list is not clear in this region. It is not clear in region 6. It is not clear in region 3. It is not clear in region 5 because it is covered up as it relates to who and who. But you bring out housing and accommodation in region parts of region 4, in region 10, in region 7. Is this consistent with auditing? It is not. Auditor General, it might be good enough for you to be able, as alleged, to be fair in these kinds of things. In these kinds of things. Advances in some of these regions that people live on a daily basis on advances, but none is stated in some of these regions in this Auditor General report. None is stated. I said to you early on that there is in the Region 2 budget or allocation for 2023 under a line item 6241, rental of buildings, that $12 million would have been allocated. But to date, in the Auditor General's report or anywhere, nobody could have said where that $12 million would have been spent. Which was the building or which were the buildings? Where is the location of the building or where are the locations for those buildings? And since it came under education, the REDO should be held accountable. And the Auditor General should cause her or him or her, whoever is the REDO, I don't know, to be able to say, and the REXO, to say where this $12 million went for rental of buildings in Region 2, because it was stated in the budget. And if they doubt it, I have the printout. This is nothing that is alleged. It is stated there But yet in the Auditor General's report, nothing was stated about that. These are all inconsistencies as it relates to the Auditor General report. The Auditor General report. So let us look now at some of the roads that were built in different communities. That these roads are not, let us put it here, they are not 1 year old as yet, so to speak. Yet, it appears as though that these roads are 10 to 15 years old based on the condition. It means then that these roads were poorly constructed. But they do not care because it is every time you rebuild and you build and you build, it is more money in the pockets of contractors, in persons working in the sub-treasury, persons working at the account section of the different regional administration, and things are not going the way. So the issue of victory is waiting. These are the things that are pointing to how is it victory is waiting. You consider it, what is it? You think about it, what is it? And then you are going to be able to make a judgment of your own self. Well, let us come back very quickly to this cash grant as already paid. If they are, whoever is concerned, bold and who wants to stick to the question of accountability, let them, like they would have done or they are doing with the voters list, post up in every area, every community, the names of all the persons who would have received cash grants, their ID number, the amount they received, and their address. Put that up. Put that up. If you believe in accountability, as Geir Teixeira was telling the people yesterday at the seminar, who would be held for corruption and what is corruption and how you can get more, let her tell you. Let her tell them to put up that list. In every NDC, in every township in this country, put up that list of all the persons who receive cash grants, their ID card number, the amount they receive, and their address. And this cash grant that is coming up, do the same thing if you are accounting. Because it is not the money belonging to the PPP. It is not government money. It is state money. It is the people's money. And therefore, the question of accountability comes into play. That is important. And don't only speak about it. And every time there is some kind of press conference or whatever conference you call it, talk about accountability and corruption and stopping corruption and what have you, looking at the tender system. And there is an authorized document called the Procurement Act that speaks to how its contracts are to be awarded. And from now to December, they are going to be busy awarding contracts. It is irregular and illegal based on the Procurement Act. Auditor General, you know when Abramsville Secondary School was supposed to be constructed, you know the story of what happened there. And you know how principled the coalition government would have been. And what happened? Because the contract had to be signed the other year because we stood our ground while people were forcing things to happen. Well, not we. I stand my ground. And a certain permanent secretary then was telling me I have to sign it. I am not going to sign any contract in December of any year, a capital work contract. No, not me. So if they are bold, let them put that up. Let them put up. I come now to deal with weeding and cleaning of trenches and canals across this country. That was a major thing that was said to us in this program. Because two things are happening with the weeding and with the cleaning. One is manual cleaning, where in some cases it is alleged that persons are sent to do it and some persons are contracted to do it, the manual cleaning. And then in some cases, you have mechanical cleaning, meaning the HIMAC or the excavator or what have you. And so once it is cleaned mechanically, it means for the next 2 or 3 months, it would not require any kind of cleaning. But this is what is happening across regions. It is cleaned mechanically, it is alleged, and the report is with this program. But some contractors or persons who are given these trenches submit their claims and are paid for the entire 12 months. Whereas during that period of time, it is those canals or some of them, canals and trenches are cleaned mechanically. That is what you call double dipping. Double dipping. Auditor General, I call you out on this here. As it relates to the weeding and cleaning of government compounds, meaning health, education, school compounds, health compounds, and what have you, across this country, in very many cases, it is alleged that submissions are made for payment. Payments are made, signed by the head of whoever is there, and there's nothing to be cleaned in any of those government compounds. Auditor General, is this a fair deal for the people of this country? The taxpayers of this country, there is need for you to be able, you have tons and tons of staff, the Auditor General, in all these regions. Now, that is another thing we need to look at. Check the persons who are employed by the Office of the Auditor General. You need to check that. I'm not saying what kind of levels of people or what have you in terms of intellectual ability, but check them. And it will tell you a story. It will tell you a serious story. And that story that is told might further tell you that why is it some regions are not audited as they ought to be audited. Some time ago, remember this program we had here, The Truth Be Told? We would continue to tell the truth on this program. We would continue to tell the truth on this program here. And then the last issue we want to close with is coming to us every single week, twice per week. And I'm going to bring it to the attention of the Auditor General. And this has to do with the Department of Health in these regions. It is alleged that drugs and medical supplies are not properly accounted for in these regions. It is alleged, and it was brought to the attention of this program, that public hospital study is paying rental for a minibus from Perseverance at a tune of, or a sum of, $500,000 per month, whereas the Department of Health has adequate transportation to meet that particular need that this minibus is doing. The regional administration also has. Auditor General, we have been bringing this to your attention, and your officers are failing you, or you are part of the failing like your officers. And state money is at stake. The people's money is at stake. It is alleged. Check it out. We can't tell you how to do your work. Check it out. Finance Secretary, check it out. Accountant General, check it out. And then you would see what is happening there. But I said that was the last one, but I close with this one. It is alleged, and we very well believe that like in the 2020 elections, that there are very many front organizations that are putting their heads up and that are agents of the PPP, that are working for election purposes, using state resources to go to do visits and to do all sorts of things. And some of these agents, these organizations that would have been mentioned or allegedly mentioned would have been Rotary clubs, not all, Lions clubs, not all. And there is need for us to be able to look at these front organizations that pretend to be service providers and charity organizations, but they have a lot of persons in these organizations that are working like those you call the guardian of democracy in the 2020 elections. We are at a point in which victory is waiting. Victory is waiting. Viewers, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to this program. We want to ask you to continue to view this program every Wednesday night from 18:30 hours to 20 hours. Thank you very much. God bless you, and have a restful, peaceful, joyful night tonight. Thank you.